Hey, fifth grade. So we are going to start our self-portrait projects. These are going to be in frames for the art show. I don't know if you remember last year, but we had all of that artwork in frames. So it's going to be on this weird paper because this is what they have to go on for the frame people. So on this side right here, you're going to write where it says student name first and last, you're going to write your name. You really don't need to fill out the rest of that. I can fill that out for you. And then you're going to turn it to portrait position, okay? You can see it at the top, it says top portrait, okay? So you want it to be in portrait position. This logo needs to be at the top. Circle where it says top. And then you're ready to start. You're going to get a piece of newsprint, all right? And you are going to draw the shape of your skull, basically, but only half of it. You're gonna take your piece of newsprint and fold it in half, and then you're gonna draw the shape of your skull. You don't want to dip in because then you'll have a heart-shaped head, and you don't want to start going up like this because then you'll have a point at your head. You want to go straight out horizontally from that fold. Notice that I can open it up like this. You want to start on the fold, and then you don't want to start curving it in too soon because then you'll have a really skinny pickle-shaped head. You want a normal-shaped head. All right, so you're going to come out, and then you're going to come in for your chin, but again, you don't want to go down to a point, and you don't want to come up because then you'll have a weird shaped head. Okay, so just get the basic shape. You don't have to get it perfect, just the basic shape. My cheek is just a little bit thinner than that. All right, then after you have the basic shape of one side of your skull, you're going to grab some scissors and you're going to cut it out. Notice it is still folded. That part's really important. Also notice that I used most of that piece of newsprint. I didn't do a teeny tiny one. I didn't go off of it. I used most of the piece. That's because, as you can see, this piece was cut with this size in mind. You want your head to be the appropriate size on your piece of paper. So I'm going to get rid of that, but not all the way because you might need, well, yeah, get rid of it all the way. You can use this piece when you need it later. All right, and I'm open it up, and I'm not totally crazy about that shape. All right, I go up it to a point, just a tad here, and it's just a little bit fatter than I really like my face to be. So I'm going to close it back up, and then I'm going to trim it. Now you can't undo anything once you've cut it off, so make sure that you're really being careful when you trim. All right, I'm going to open it back up again, and I feel like that's a better shape for my head. Then I'm going to trace it down. Now I don't want it to be all the way up here because we're just doing a bust. Remember, that's from your shoulders to the top of your head, and you need space for your hair. You don't want it to be down here because you don't want it to be your head and your neck with all this space up top. You really want it in the middle. Don't do it off to the side. Just really want it just about in the middle of your page, maybe a little bit higher than the middle. All right, and then you're going to trace that head shape onto your piece of paper. Just like that. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. All right, then you want to mark this middle of your head. So fold it, line it up where you just traced, and mark, here's the center of my head. All right, then you're going to open it up. You're going to take that chin and you're going to fold it up to the top. And you want to make sure that those folds, I can't tell if you can see that on the video or not, but you want those two folds to really be lined up. You're going to put it all the way at the top and crease. All right, that will give you the center of your skull. Believe it or not, your eyes are actually in the center of your skull. Okay, so I'm going to mark. I'm actually going to do a very light line all the way across the center of my skull because that is where your eyes go. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take that chin and I'm going to fold it up to that middle line that I just folded. Increase it. I'm going to fit it into that outline of the head that I drew, And I'm not going to do a line all the way across. I'm just going to do a little mark right there where this fold meets that fold. All right, and that's going to give us where our nose is going to end. And then I'm going to take the bottom of that chin and I'm going to fold it up to that fold, crease it, fit my head into the trace that I did, and then do a mark right where that fold meets that perpendicular vertical fold, and that's going to be about where my mouth is. This is the daVinci ideal face that I was telling you about last time. We're using this to create our self-portraits. daVinci, as you know, used that golden ratio to draw paintings. He found it all over in nature. Any person that's into geometry will be able to talk to you about it. And this is the expression of the golden ratio within your face, is half of your head and then keep going down. All right, so this is where your eyes are going to be, and this is where your nose is going to end, and then your mouth is going to be roughly in there. Now there is a fold that you do through that center of your nose that tells you not only where your eyes end, but where your neck begins. All right, it's something like this. So basically what you do is you want to fold it right on that right on that intersecting fold right there. All right, and you can see it really well if you have it matched up in there. And then that'll tell you your edge of your eye should be here and your neck should sprout out of your head down here. Okay, so if you want, you can mark that spot and that spot, and then take your head, and it should be exactly symmetrical, so you can flip it over and mark it here and here. All right, because you don't want your eyes to go all the way out to the edge of your face. There's actually like flesh there that goes out to your ear. All right, then remember we talked about how your eyes are about 3 finger widths apart. Well, that's actually true for the space between your eyes as well. So however long your eyes are, all right, however long your eyes are is actually going to be this amount of space in between your eyes as well. So I've marked my eye here. I'm going to fold it back. There it is. All right, so I marked it here. I'm going to mark it onto my newsprint too, so that way I can move it over. Mark it here, and then it's not an exact science. You might have to fudge it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to so I'm going to shift everything over just slightly. Like I said, most people's faces work, but not everybody's. All right, and then I'm going to erase that. There we go. And that's roughly 3 spaces that are equal distance. All right, and then you can have your neck sprout out of down there if you chose to make these marks. Again, the diagonal marks are a little bit more difficult to utilize. Have your neck sprout out of there. Regardless of whether you use these marks or not, your neck needs to come in from your head. You don't want it to look like a tree trunk, and you don't want it to look like a popsicle stick. All right, and you don't want your neck to be too long, because then you'll look like a giraffe. All right, and then we've got our shoulders. Now, after you've got these marks and you've got your shoulders in place, then you can figure out where your ears are going to go. Your ears, if you trace your ears forward onto your face, actually line up between your mouth, believe it or not, and your eyes. That would look huge on our drawings. So I'm going to say do it between your mouth and your nose, because again, while our bodies adhere to the golden ratio, sometimes that looks weird in our drawings. So I'm going to draw my ear, all right, and then I'm going to come out from my nose over here. I'm going to draw my ear. And then if you manage to get this much done, you could start putting your eyes in, but I'm going to show you a really awesome trick to getting your eyes perfect next time. So if you get to this point today, I will be very, very happy.